Hello and welcome to my modelling videos. In these videos I'm going to be demonstrating how I do many different styles of modelling. We're going to start off with wargaming, Second World War, and over the next few videos I will be building up two armies, British and German, to be able to play one of the scenarios in the rapid fire rulebook. This is a set of rules which are simple and quick to play. This rulebook is easily available on Amazon, costing around £25. And the scenario that I'm going to be working towards is this, which is a battalion level scenario set in Normandy, which has a few Germans, a few British, and a map of the table. We will not only be building up the models and the figures for the two armies, but I will also be going through building the buildings, walls, roads, hedgerows and woods, so that by the end of these videos you'll be able to, with a friend, play this scenario with the aid of the rulebook. To start with, the scale. Rapid fire is designed for 20mm, but can be used for other scales. 20mm figures are 1 to 72 scale, or 4mm to the foot, or in model railway terms, 00 gauge. There's many different companies that build models in this scale, from Italia, Revell, Airfix, and more recently you have Plastic Soldier and Valiant. I have used many of the varying companies for different models, but at the moment, right now, I'm going to take you through painting Plastic Soldier figures. This is a company that I have recently come across. This is a box of the infantry, which I will be painting up at a later date. And in here you have 66 figures, which is more than enough to build the army that we need for the British. Several different poses, some gluing, some assembly needed, and I'll be taking you through that. But that's for a later video. Today I actually have these that need doing. These are for a £6, which you will need. You notice I have built this. Fear not, I do need to get some more of these, so I will be doing this again at a later stage and doing a video on the £6 and the associated Lloyd carrier. But if you get the book, you will note in the book for this scenario the £6 is towed by a brain carrier. Again, I will get some more of these because I could do with them anyway, and I will be going through building and painting these and detailing them. I will also be doing the tanks and the German half tracks and any other vehicles that we need. So, moving on. The figures themselves. Some assembly will be required, and the first thing we need to do is get them out of the sprues. For this, I use a good old-fashioned Stanley knife. please, younger viewers, do be careful when using a Stanley knife not to cut your fingers. I do not want to be held responsible for loss of limb. In fact, younger viewers, ask a parent for this. And as you see, they cut out quite easily. And you can just trim off any little bit of excess plastic. You can either use the knife, as I tend to do, if it's a big bit, or if you've got a slightly smaller piece, the needle file, and just take off any excess. And then the next bit, I recommend you, with these, you cut out each individual figure separately. Unfortunately, my knife isn't particularly sharp. So once you've got your figure cut out and on your, tidy up a bit. So you've got your individual figure cut out on your cutting mat. All the extra bits are taken off. You can then glue it. I tend to use liquid poly, such as this. This is just basic Humbrol liquid poly. I did used to use the Revell sticks, and before that yes, I know that says balsa cement, but the poly cement came in very similar tubes. The trouble with this and this, it can come out quite fast and you end up with more glue than you require. This tube, very handy, but you can get glue in there going hard, then it's blocked and there's no way of clearing it then. Then it becomes useless, and so you end up having to pull that out and guiding the glue straight from the end there. So, see, even that's it, goes back in. So I use this, which has a brush. Very accurate, very easy to use, I find. So the other thing you're going to need, a pair of tweezers, because as you see, these parts are very, very small. Firstly, check the parts fit together, nice and snug, and take off any excess. Then you can drop a tiny bit of glue in the recess and that should hold it. And then you can put him to one side to go hard. Now, I will continue with this with all the other figures to do, so I'll crack on with that and I'll see you in a moment. Welcome back. As you can see, we have 6 built figures. Now, the next stage is to base them and what to base them on. I have found the cheapest and easiest, most accessible thing is the 1p coin. It only costs a penny and they're readily available. So, you're going to need 6 coins. By the way, I never glue it on the Queen's head. Not that I'm a royalist, it's just I try not to do it. So we have our 6 coins and our 6 figures. We're also going to need something to stick it with. And this time, we use an all-purpose glue, because this will glue plastic to metal quite effectively. I've used it on all my figures in the past and quite happy with it. We also will need some of this, which is 1/72 scale or 00 gauged ballast. This just gives a roughness to the coin, so it just breaks it up and makes it look a little bit more earth-like. We will also need the ballast dispensary device or a spoon, and finally, to save on the mess, a container to hold it all in and something we can get the excess ballast back from. This is just a lid off of a Hawker Hurricane that I made. Always keep boxes, they're very handy. So, we'll slide that over and position our box, and we'll get our first coin. Now I'm not sure how this is going to go, because I've never done these figures before and they have no bases on them to start with. But we'll cover the coin in glue. Place it down. Hopefully the figure will stand up, and he does. Ideal. Put the lid back on the glue. Get some ballast and just sprinkle over like that. Do this for all 6. Doesn't matter if you don't get the whole coin. It makes for a bit of interest if you have some smooth spots. And does make it a little bit easier for painting later. Try not to get it on the edge of the coin though. It doesn't matter too much if you do. because the ballast is easy to break off the edge of the coin when it's dried. Some people use super glue and add features like rocks afterwards. Some people use card to base their figures on, and sometimes even base two figures on a single base. This you can do, or even three figures on a single base. You can do, but I find it's easier to paint them when they're on their own, because you can get all round the figure quite easily. I have got some figures that are paired up, and it is a lot easier when they're on their own. You're going to stay there? Sit. Good boy. Don't forget, always talk to your figures, because they'll perform a lot better in battle when you do. And the last one, there he goes. There we go. And now you just leave them and here they are, glued, fixed, with a little bit of gravel on the bottom of each one. The next stage, of course, is to put a base coat on. You can do this by hand with a brush if you like, but what I tend to do is spray them black. You can spray them grey. Some people spray them grey basically because it makes the finished figure a little brighter. It makes the colour a little brighter. I prefer black. Black hides a lot of sins. And what I tend to use is Halford's Matte Black car paint. It's effective, it's cheap, it's about £4 a can, I think, but it's certainly under a fiver. For that, you can't go wrong. Compared with something like the Humbrol or the Tamiya spray paints, which are about £5–7 for half the amount. You're better off just using a matte black. And with this, there's very little smell. So I will now go off and spray these figures black and show you the finished result when I get back.